prayed for this and it happened.
Uncle fucking House who's supposed to be
Are the shoes of a champion. This jacket right here, shoes of a champion.
Hey, what's that?
No beats. Yeah! Yeah!
Well, you can't see my face because there's a giant banner in front of it. Way to go, Dylan. Hello. What's going on, people? It's Devin Dilly. It's another episode. It's another solo dolo situation actually going on here. I know what you're thinking. Yo, there's only one of you. It's Devin Dilly. You're Dilly. Well, I'm here to answer those questions by just telling you that Devin is currently in the middle of driving. And I did not want to put Devin in a situation where he was going to be driving, talking about AEW for the next hour, and potentially crashing, and then that's on my hands. I don't need that. I don't need any of that. So, here's the situation. I'm going to break it down for you, people. It's just me today, which means Devin is not responsible for anything that is said on today's podcast. He fucked up. So I have full control over everything that's going on here, which means that I am going to run down everything that isn't WWE. As you see in the title, it is the AEW Double or Nothing review. And the reason why is because when it comes to the world of professional wrestling, I asked Devin to lock in on WWE. He locks in. I asked Devin to lock in on AEW. He locks in. But at the end of the day, I don't need him to lock in on everything all the time when I'm already locked. So when it comes to the world of AEW, I can kind of just go right in there. I can kind of just well it. And we can kind of just talk about it. So first things first, when it comes to what's going on in the wonderful world of All Elite Wrestling. Now, we're going to start off with, nope, not going to start off with that. Way to go, Dylan. We're going to start off with the AEW Double or Nothing predictions. Now, when it comes to how those predictions went at the end of the day, I got my ass beat. There's really no good way to put it. I kind of just got spanked. Yeah, I know that I talked all this shit about how this was my product, and I talked all this shit about how, you know, I know a little bit more than I like to think most, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get spanked. I think Devin beat me by 3 in predictions, to the point where we got to the end of the pay-per-view, I just started rooting for my favorites because, well, I knew how it was going to go. So, basically, let's go through it. Now, we are going to go through this. I feel like I should add a little bit of music or something here. You know, I don't have Devin to bounce off of here, so I feel like I should almost, something should be playing in the background, so it's like, you know what I mean? Now, I can go through this pay-per-view, and you can, a little bit louder, just a little bit. Okay. Hold up. All my audio listeners right now are like, what the hell just happened? Here's the thing. It's just me, like I said. So now I got full control over everything. All right. Goddamn. I talked about nothing for 4 minutes, if you want me to be completely honest with you. This is going great. So, let's kick it off with how the show started. We got Will Ospreay and Roderick Strong. Now, when it comes to... Fuck, I gotta turn this off. It's gonna distract me. When it comes to the start of this pay-per-view, I just want to say, first things first, overall, fucking phenomenal pay-per-view. I thought it was great. I felt like AEW tried to make this feel like it was a WrestleMania. I feel like AEW tried to make this feel like it was their biggest pay-per-view of the year. They gave us 4.5 hours of wrestling, which nowadays is fucking rare. If you got a 3.5 hour pay-per-view, you're eating good, especially if that's a a B tier pay-per-view, but I felt like AEW made this feel like their WrestleMania, their biggest show of the year, which is crazy to me because they still have a pay-per-view coming up in 2 months that is going to sell probably 75,000 more tickets, 80,000, because if they really sold 100,000 tickets the first time, that's your biggest show of the year. But they're not treating this like it's the biggest show of the year because if I'm being honest with you, they treated Double or Nothing like the biggest show of the year. And to all the people that just popped in, once again, Devin is not here, and it's me solo dolo. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, yo, where's Devin? So if you're waiting for Devin, leave now because he won't appear. Everybody fucking leaves. I wouldn't be surprised. All right. So anyways, like I was saying, back to AEW. This felt like a WrestleMania. This felt like their biggest show of the year. They gave us 4.5 hours of wrestling, and they still have a 100,000 seat stadium to fill in Wembley. So we'll go through this. But overall, I was very happy with this pay-per-view. Starting off with Will Ospreay and Roderick Strong. They started this pay-per-view with a bang. They first entrance music that hit of the night was Will Ospreay. I was kind of shocked. I had to text Devin and be like, yo, they're starting with Will Ospreay and Roderick Strong. Holy shit, yada, yada, yada. And, Devin obviously chimed in, saw his boy, and these two cooked. So Roderick Strong being the messiah, the backbreaker, and Will Ospreay being the messiah of every wrestling move physically possible because he's an aerial assassin and just one of the best professional wrestlers in the fucking world right now. Yes, the world right now. He and Roderick Strong put on, I want to say, a 15-minute banger. Could have been close to 20 minutes, but they just cooked, tore the house down. I thought the storytelling was really good where the Tiger Driver 97, it was going to be utilized in the finish of this match. How? We didn't know. Well, you have Don Callis, evil, shitty manager, telling him to use the Tiger Driver. He goes to use the Tiger Driver. He's thinking about it. He's like, nah, I'm not going to do it. I don't need to win like that. I'm better than that. I'm Will Ospreay, baby. I don't know what that means, but he does this. And if you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking, you know what that looks like. But he does that. So, and he fucking says, no, I'm going to win without it. Flip a do-rag thingy. Twisted Thunder, whatever it's called. I don't know, but it's so cool looking of a move. Wins the AEW International Championship, and me and Devin started off the predictions 0-1, but it was one of those situations where it felt too obvious, but it was right there. Will Ospreay, he said after in his press conference that he's going to defend this all over the world, in the UK, in WrestlePro, in RevPro, and everything that he can to get this title eyes, and that makes the most sense for Ospreay, and it makes the most sense for Double or Nothing. But I want to continue to talk about Will Ospreay because even though this isn't Double or Nothing related, this is still AEW related because last night on AEW, Will Ospreay became the #1 contender to the AEW World Championship. Yes, there was a casino battle royal if you did not see it, and they had, I want to say, up to 8 men in there. And I thought it was going to be Jay White. Jay White did not win. And it was Will Ospreay that got the victory. And now we have the AEW International Champion, who has been champion for 3 days, now the #1 contender for the world title. Here's where I'm at, okay? Half of me goes, he's the best wrestler in the world, so it makes sense. He's in a situation right now where every match that he is in, whether he's one of 8 men in a battle royal or he's one of 2 men in a singles match, he's going to win that match. If you put him in there, he's going to be victorious because of how OP Will Ospreay is right now, I guess is the best way to put it. So the fact that it might feel like it's coming at wrestling fans fast, like, whoa, he just beat Kenny Omega, and then he just beat and then he just beat Bryan Danielson, and then he just beat Roderick Strong, and now he's a champion, and now he's going to fight the world champion Swerve. I get it. Some people, it's like, whoa, that's a lot. But at the end of the day, what you got to realize is when he is the best wrestler, I'm just going to say it, honestly, the best wrestler in the world, you can fucking argue with me if you want to, he gets to run this. Yes, we're running solo today, Ennis, because Devin is currently driving home from school, and I did not want to make him talk about AEW in the car. I felt like making him talk about AEW just while he's driving home in the car, and then what if he gets an accident? Then that's on my ass, and then I can't go to sleep tonight because I made him do this podcast. So we had to put a little bit of priorities over here, but we are running solo dolo here. I'm doing the best that I can. I think I'm doing okay. But to sum up the Will Ospreay point, if it feels like it's coming at you fast, you're gonna have to just suck it up a little bit because he's gonna give you an absolute banger with Swerve, and the people are gonna love that. Also, what's going on, OG? Next thing that happened on pay-per-view that really let me know, okay, we are one match in. We're not even to the second match, and this feels like a high-profile pay-per-view, was MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I feel like this is probably the first pay-per-view since he's been gone that I didn't ask for him, which is, of course, the one pay-per-view that they would then give him to me. So that shit's noted. But when it comes to why this is such a big deal, this man is the biggest man of the company. There's no way to put it. The pop that you heard for those people, that was from somebody who has been gone for 3 months. He's been gone for almost 4 months. And that pop, you would think that MJF was gone for almost a year or a year plus. I love that he came out in the Triple H jacket. I love that he came out with the Triple H, the vest and the jacket. You know what I'm trying to say. I thought that was fantastic. I thought the promo that he cut was great. I thought that when he said, I don't need a New Japan, I don't need a Vince McMahon, some people were like, God, he's still doing this. But at the end of the day, that was the only thing that he said that kind of resembled the other place. The Wolf of Wrestling, the I'm not effing leaving, all of it. I thought it was great. I was all here for it. I thought it was fantastic. And the fact that we now have him and Adam Cole that are probably going to be healthy and run that back at All In after they had their match last year at All In. Completely different story this time. I think that's a crazy long-term story that AEW was kind of forced to tell because Adam Cole broke his ankle and MJF had one arm. But because of that, I'm happy because we get a long-term story. And you know, AEW, they don't like to do a lot of long-term stories. Next thing that we have here is the Bullet Club going one-on-one with Death Triangle. This was first off, 4.5 star, 5 stars, thumbs up, W. This match, I would give 4.5 stars, W. I thought it was fantastic. I thought that when the Bullet Club and Death Triangle came up for the second match of the night, that's really a tone setter there. When you have Will Ospreay start the match, you have MJF come out second, then you have this match be third. I mean, that lets you know that this card here is either going to start hot and die out, or it's going to continue to cook. And I'm proud to say that it did not die out at any point. Bullet Club and Death Triangle was a little bit more of a spot fest, as you would expect. But when it came to the conclusion of the match, Juice Robinson returning, coming back. Everybody loves the Bang Bang Gang all together. All 4 members of Bullet Club Gold now together. You have God, I want to call them the Ass Boys so bad, but Colton and Austin Gunn, Juice Robinson, Jay White, those 4 together with Forbidden Door, with the New Japan history that those men have. I guarantee that we'll probably see some sort of 8-man tag because if you know New Japan, they love their 6-man, 8-man tags anyway. So, great match, great finish. And even though Death Triangle lost, I thought it all made sense how it happened, and I was here for it. Next match. I have a hot take, and I know that this is a solo dolo take, and this is honestly where Devin is going to be mad he's not here because, you know, he can't agree or disagree. But this is my favorite women's match of the year so far. Now, I'm going to let you just sit on that, and here's why. I thought that if you took the storytelling out of it with throwing the towel and Luther and Mariah May and just take all that aside, I thought the technical and professional wrestling of this match was just fantastic. Now, when it comes to Serena Deeb, I feel like nobody ever gives her enough credit. No one ever talks about her, but that's not necessarily her fault when she's been injured for a year. And I know when she was in the main event scene before she got hurt, people were talking about her. This was a great reminder to everyone that she is one of the best women's professional wrestlers, especially in AEW. And also, Toni Storm finally got to go and have a longer than 7-minute match. I feel like the problem with her title reign is that, yeah, she's beating all these high names, but the longest match she had was against Thunder Rosa, and that just cracked over 10 minutes. So they finally gave her a 15-minute classic, false finishes, back and forth. I thought the wrestling of both women was just superb. I ended, like, the match was going on, and I was like, wow, this is actually really good. It ended, and I was like, wow, this is actually fucking fantastic. when I was done with the match and I went through the card and I went through all the wrestling, take out the spot fest and just look through the professional wrestling of it, I thought that was the best match bell to bell. I thought it was great. So shout out to Tony Storm and Serenity, because I don't know how many people are going to give you flowers, but I'm going to give you all of them right here. Tamatanga, any flowers you want to give, you can go ahead and give those now. That's the best you're going to get from Tama. All right, we're going to move on over to Y2J versus Hook versus Kidiori Keats. I'm going to fucking butcher that first name, and that's why I continue to say his last name. Shibata. The triple threat match that a lot of people did not have high expectations for, and I've also learned recently that a lot of people are very split on Chris Jericho right now. I know that lately me and Devin were talking about how this gimmick is starting to get over. That TV time segment has really got a lot of people going, I hate him, or a lot of people going, I love it. It just depends on what your style of comedy or entertainment is. I'm not going to answer that because I don't want to divide. I don't want to immediately divide the people. But when it comes to this match right here, I thought that it was a great match. I thought the fact that it was FTW rules and it was no disqualification really helped. And honestly, when it comes to Chris Jericho, every match he has just needs to be some type of stipulation, because you cannot put this man in a one-on-one normal match right now because the people don't care. They'll chant at him and they'll just tell him that he's not good. And that's what we'll get like the whole time. But when you put him in a match where there's hockey pucks and dice and tables and other things going on, it just helps him. So that's what we got to just continue doing. Keep him with the FTW championship, because in every match has to be like Extreme Rules. The main spot that I do want to talk about was someone that was not even in the match, and that was Big Bill, because I thought that Hook giving that exploder suplex on the apron to Big Bill was not only so perfectly pulled off, but was one of the best spots of the night, just in terms of how clean it looked. That man, Hook, I don't think cracked 6 foot. I think Big Bill cracked 7 feet. So when you look at the size stature, and then you look at what he was able to do, throwing him off the apron, through a table, that's insane. Hook did not win the match, though. Obviously, we had a surprise with someone else joining. I don't even know what you would call the group. I guess the Jericho Learning Tree group. That the apples. I guess they're the apples, and he would be the tree, technically. I don't know. But the bounty hunter, Brian Keith, from Ring of Honor, and I only found out who he was, I think, 2 Ring of Honor pay-per-views before, because he hasn't been on TV since. So he is still new to Ring of Honor and AEW and all of that. But good way to bring someone who is brand new into the company in. Well, let's pair him up with Chris Jericho, because then people will start to care. That's how you think. That's what they think, because they think that that's what happened with the Inner Circle, and that's what we can do now. And I am okay with it, as long as we don't end up in a situation where a couple of years from now, look at what the people from the Inner Circle are doing. Nothing. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But overall, I thought the match was good. I didn't complain about it. I was happy. I thought that it went a little longer than it probably should have, if you want to nitpick, but it was all right in the end. I still gave it a thumbs up. I was like, it was happy. 3.5 stars, 3 stars, somewhere in there. Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta. All right, I got 2 sides to this coin. Actually, no, I have 1. I don't like this. One, when I look at the card, I don't think this match should have been on here. I get the story. This is something that they could have done on a Dynamite. I don't think this is something they had to do a Double or Nothing. Now, I felt like this was more of, we're going to get OC on the card, and I get that. But then if the point of the story would be, okay, this is the first time Trent Beretta is interesting, as we saw last night on Dynamite, him joining the Don Callis family. Why does Trent Beretta lose this match? I think that's the one thing where after it was done, I was like, okay, the match was okay. It was decent. Like, it was a decent match, but it wasn't that good. And then at the end, I was like, okay, no, I think this is a thumbs down. I'm not happy with this, just because it doesn't make sense to me why the payoff of the feud would be Orange Cassidy winning, and then the feud isn't done, because the next night Orange Cassidy gets jumped by Trent Beretta. Trent Beretta joins Don Callis family, so that's probably going to continue being a thing. A little confused on that, but hey, every single AEW show, they have an ending or a finish that has me scratching my head a little bit. So I'm going to give this one a thumbs down. When it comes to this match, Jon Moxley and Takeshita, I just want to say this. Takeshita has now become one of those wrestlers, and I think there's currently maybe 4 of them. Was Seth Rollins, Will Ospreay, I guess you could do Roman Reigns and Takeshita and Kenny Omega, where doesn't really matter who they fight, they're gonna put on a fucking great match. They're gonna put on one of the best matches they've had in a while. And I've been watching New Japan, and I see the Moxley matches, and Moxley has not been having bad matches. But when it came to this match, I just felt like Moxley got his ass beat. Like, Takeshita beat the shit out of him. I was fully not prepared for Moxley to come into this match with one arm, leave with one arm, still get the victory clean, and they just beat the shit out of each other for 15 minutes. Takeshita, he has the hardest forearm in all of wrestling. I don't know how just from that it creates a noise that sounds like a gunshot, but he's the only man that can do it. So Takeshita and Jon Moxley gets a thumbs up from me, and I thought that the match was great. And then Jon Moxley just beat somebody else again last night on Dynamite. So this whole narrative, I guess, is the best word to use for it, of Jon Moxley just beating people in number 1 contender matches. Like, if you beat me, you get a shot to just continue doing it, is very similar to what he did when he had his first AEW championship reign. And I think it's good because it just proves that Mox is a fighting champion. But I, like a lot of people, want to know what's going to happen at Forbidden Door. He's IWGP World Champion. He's signed to AEW. He's going to fight somebody from Japan. A lot of questions on who that's going to be. So I guess that's probably my biggest thing is, what are they going to do with that? Okay. So this was a good match. Let's start there. Edge versus Malachi Black was a good match. From start to finish, it was a good match. The finish of the match was good. I had Malachi winning, but the fact that I texted Devin and said, if Gangrel comes out, I'm going to lose my shit, and then maybe 2 minutes later, he did come out, and then I lost my shit, was pretty insane. And the fact that WWE was like, hey, we don't want to book Gangrel at a WrestleMania when he fought Finn Balor because the people won't remember him. There won't be that like a pop. That pop was fucking crazy. That pop was loud, and the people knew exactly who Gangrel was and remembered him vividly. So that's crazy to me. But obviously, if you take away the black masses, if you take away the spears, if you take away the, oh my God, he's turning with the House of Black, or the fake out of no, he actually isn't, with Gangrel, with all the shenanigans, there's one problem and there's one overlying thing that happened during the match that has everyone kind of putting a damper on the match overall. And that is the fact that a 50-year-old man jumped off of the cage. He then reported afterwards that he said he did not want to do the spot. He probably, or not that he didn't want to, he shouldn't have done the spot. He did, he didn't think it was a good idea at the time, but at the time he wished that someone would have told him don't do it. And the problem is that he jumped. He did not fully commit, which I understand. If you're a 50-year-old man and you're that high as you're jumping, you're probably going, what am I doing? Goes to land on his feet, snaps the tibia. So now Edge had to relinquish the TNT Championship, even though he just beat that match with Malachi. It makes me sad because I really wanted Malachi to win this championship. Malachi loses, and now Edge is hurt. And it's like, damn. Because if Malachi would have won, then you wouldn't have this ladder match that, don't get me wrong, will bang on Forbidden Door, but you're probably now going to put 3 or 4 New Japan guys in just to fill it that we know aren't going to win. So, overall, good match, but that shit's going to get dampered because you had a 50-year-old Adam Copeland jumping off the top of a cell and breaking his tibia. Anyways, now we'll get to the big 3, because apparently this was a 3 main event pay-per-view, which I didn't even know was advertised until I got to the show. Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Moné. The match overall was a 4.5, 4-star banger. It was great. I had a problem with the finish. I was really upset with how it just, okay. If you're gonna take Mercedes Moné's bank statement away, right, and you're gonna give her the Monet Maker, where she now puts her up and then flips her off against smaller cruiserweight women, that move will look deadly because they will be able to sell it on the over rotation. They'll be able to sell it like a fish where they're flopping. But on somebody where it's like a Willow Nightingale or in WWE terms like a Piper Niven, even a Jade Cargill, a Nia Jax, any type of heavyweight women, it's going to be difficult to make that move look like it's devastating because when she hit it on Willow, I was almost like, Willow's fine. 1, 2, oh shit, that's the end of the match. And it just felt weirdly anticlimactic to me, if that makes sense. So I felt like this would have been more of a match where you have it, she wins by the Monet make or the bank statement, tap out, or you have a situation where Stokely, throws the towel in. She's like, why'd you do that? Because then Chris Statlander turned on Willow after the match, which I think helped me. I was upset. I was a little bad taste in my mouth. And then when Chris turned on Willow, I was like, okay, at least there's a story here. At least they're building off of this. They're going to give Willow something and not just be like, hey, we gave you the championship so that Mercedes can beat you and now see ya. No, you're going to continue in a high-profile feud, hopefully on Forbidden Door, probably on the pre-show, though, with Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. Now, co-main event, Christian versus Swerve. I thought that this match had a lot lower expectations because I came into it like, God damn it, they did it again. They left it to where there's so much shit that just happened, and I'm thinking about Anarchy in the Arena that's next, and it's like it kind of just like buried this match in the middle of everything, and I was like, the crowd's not gonna care. People aren't, that was my worry. And I'm proud to say I was wrong. I felt like this was a fantastic match. The match really picked up in terms of the crowd waking up once we had Prince Nana get involved with the title and everything. And then, there was some ejections. People came alive. Storytelling of the match was great. Swerve getting the win. Floyd Mayweather being in the front row with Swerve, for Swerve. That was great for AEW. But overall, Christian being like we talked about with Edge, that same age, putting on close to 20 minutes, maybe more of a great match. So thumbs up. I give this 4 stars. Thought the crowd really helped it. And then it kind of, got everybody like, okay, we can take a breath. And then Justin Roberts comes on the mic and says, get ready for the shit show. And my God, I gave this match of the night just because I never saw anything like it before. And when I watch movies and I go, I've never seen anything like this before, to me, that makes it great. That makes it better because I go, okay, well, it's going to be pretty impossible to top this. It's going to be pretty impossible to top what I saw them do in this match. Because when it comes to the previous two Anarchy in the arenas, a fear in the back of my mind that I had was, well, how do you top it? How do you really top Kenny or Eddie Kingston coming out covered in gasoline with the gasoline can, the memes of that? And how are you going to top, the shit that they've done in the past? They started it off by blasting different music. The storytelling from the start was great, with just the music playing of the Young Bucks being like, no, play our new theme song, to Daniel Bryan being like, no, play the final fucking countdown. And I don't know why, but there was something so goddamn poetic about Darby Allin jumping off of a 10-foot high railing onto 5 other grown men at the exact same time that 20,000 people are screaming, it's the final countdown. To me, that's pro wrestling. If you just don't get it, you don't get it. But if you get it, you get it. That's the best way I can put it. I thought it was amazing. I just was laughing the whole time. When you got past the music and you got to the actual match, they told pretty much 2 stories of Jungle Boy kind of had his own story. There was the Jungle Boy plot, and then there was the match. So the Jungle Boy plot we'll get to in a second. But when it comes to the match, it was, crazy move here, crazy move there. Threw a table there, threw a table there. All the extreme spots that you would expect, jumping off the top of the stage, through a table, yada, yada. The Jungle Boy plot is where things took the match from a holy shit to a, okay, we've never seen this before. So Jungle Boy starts off with Darby Allin in the backstage area. They go off fighting. And what we are led to believe is that Jungle Boy gets into the scapegoat van or the bus and runs over Darby Allin in these boxes to where now the commentators are saying that Darby Allin was in the boxes. So now Darby Allin has been hit by 2 buses in the span of a month. So God bless the man. And on top of it, the next time we see them, Jungle Boy grabs Tony Khan, brings him out, says, "You're coming with me," after he got pushed into a thing of ice water. So he's covered head to toe in ice water, or we are led to believe. Comes out through the tunnel with Tony Khan as he's going to hit him with a move. Here comes Darby Allin, who just got hit by 2 buses in the span of a month. And of course, he's fucking walking, because of course he is. He's going to climb Mount Everest. He said he's going to climb Mount Everest. I believe him. He's going to fucking do it. But Darby Allin, he comes out with a flamethrower. Yes, a flamethrower. And just lights Jungle Boy on fire. There's not spears him through a table, not puts him through a flaming table. No, he just set him on fire like Kane did JR. Like, he's on fire. Had to lay on his stomach. The Young Bucks had to come out with their, I almost said air fresheners, fire extinguishers, get all that out of there. And I'm sitting over here like, holy shit, you got Tony Khan, 3 Stooges rolling down the ramp, getting out of there like, Jesus Christ, what the hell's going on? He gets to the backstage. Somebody's on fire. We get back into the ring. You're trying to contain yourself. God damn it, Darby Allin. Because every time he comes back into the ring, you fear for your life because you know something bad's going to happen. There's a wire on top of the ring. They hang this man by his feet. As he is now hanging by his feet, the Young Bucks, who are releasing or have now released their brand new Reebok pumps, brought those out, brought them with thumbtacks in the bottom of the shoe. Each put on a super kick. Darby Allin was laying there with both of his arms out. They gave him a double super kick to the face. Darby Allin took it square to the nose. They thought he broke his nose again, but then they did x-rays and found out he didn't. He just had a bunch of thumbtack marks and blood all over his face because he took that right on the chin, because Darby can't fake anything. Everything's got to be too goddamn real with him. He's insane. We get to the point where Bryan Danielson comes in, tries to save Darby Allin. As he's going to save Darby Allin, Jungle Boy returns from being set on fire. Double knee to the face. The Elite win. And I was sitting here like, holy shit, that was insane. And it led me to forget that this pay-per-view was 4.5 hours. And if you can do that, that's huge. Because a lot of the times, if you're sitting here at a Mania, or when WWE would have a really long pay-per-view, and you're like, we're at fucking 4.5, 5 hours, and you're at the main event. And it's this, you need it to be anarchy in the arena. You need it to be something where it's just straight chaos for the next 20 to 30 minutes. So you're not thinking about the fact that we are 4 hours in and the fact that this pay-per-view is now going to end at 1 a.m. And if you want to watch the press conference, that bitch isn't going to end until 2 a.m. So 8 straight hours of AEW wrestling, if you start the pre-show from 6 and end it at 2, is kind of wild, in my opinion. But like I said, they treated this like a WrestleMania. They treated this like a top-tier pay-per-view, especially with having Gangrel, MJF, and the returns that they had, as well as, the matches that they had. So I'm going to say right now, best AEW show of the year. And tomorrow, when me and Devin review King and Queen of the Ring, because tomorrow we're all going to review that, because I just didn't want to make another 1.5 hour podcast when I could just bang this out really quick. I'm going to tell you how this pay-per-view kind of blew that one out of the water. Oh, no, he said the thing, but he did. Sorry, not sorry. It kind of blew it out of the water. It was just pro wrestling-wise, it was pretty fucking good. AEW, round of applause. I don't have a round of applause button, but I do have this. And I feel like that's pretty good. So before we roll out of here, one last thing I want to touch on, because I told Devin I wasn't going to touch WWE, and I'm not going to touch WWE. I want to talk about Jordynne Grace arriving in NXT, because this happened on Tuesday, and I want to talk primarily just a little bit about TNA real quick, because we saw Jordynne Grace at the Royal Rumble. We saw when Mickie James was TNA Knockouts champion 2 years ago at the Royal Rumble. We have now slowly seen situations where TNA and WWE have been working together, similar how New Japan and AEW are. Now, do I think they're going to put on a fucking Forbidden Door type of pay-per-view together? No. But what I do think is that when you have people like Jordynne Grace, when you have people that are crossing over into the WWE side, you got to ask, what are they getting back? And I think that you have people like LA Knight, like AJ Styles, that aren't doing anything right now. And for the next month, AEW or TNA, sorry, has a 20-year anniversary show coming up. And if you want to have someone that was in TNA like Nick Aldis, someone that was in TNA like AJ Styles, having a conversation about how AJ Styles wants one more big run at the top, you could do something there. I don't know if they're gonna, but I just think that Jordan Grace coming in, for those of you who don't know who she is, she's the juggernaut. She's fantastic. She is not a one-time, not a two-time, but a three-time TNA world champion for the women. So she's an absolute beast, and her and Roxanne Perez are going to put on a classic. I believe she has a 3-match contract, and I know that she has 1 match in NXT, 1 match on Battleground. So what's the 3rd match? Does she win? That makes me wonder. Does she win at Battleground? There's a lot of questions there. Or maybe there's 2 matches before Battleground, and then you go, oh, she's not winning for sure. But 36-minute pod, just quickly running down AEW Double or Nothing. Just quickly running down that show. Overall, I think I gave the show a fucking high rating. I know my rating does not mean shit. Everybody has their own personal preference, but, if I'm going to talk about 36 minutes of this pay-per-view, I might as well tell you what I rated it. I gave it a 10. Yeah. So that tells you where I'm at. I gave it a 10. I thought it was the best AEW wrestling show of the year, and now it puts them in a situation where All In is going to have to be topped. That's tough. But I appreciate you guys watching. There's actually a lot of you in here, and I really appreciate all of you that are in here watching. Tomorrow night, me and Devin are going to try to go live before SmackDown. So I'd say probably 6 or 7 because he's going to be home. So you will be able to get that King and Queen of the Ring fallout, and then we'll also talk about Liv Morgan kissing Dominic Mysterio, Uncle Howdy, everything WWE that I did not just talk about today. So tune in for that shit. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Also, this man's going to kill me if I don't say something about it, so I need to make sure that I do. Lezu dropped a brand new single that officially came out on May 24th. It is called Pride. It is the Zoo Step. And in his words, he didn't want me to say this, but I know Devin, he would want me to say this. The Zoo Step is going to be the next biggest dance taking over the goddamn world. So make sure that you're here and make sure that you're stepping because I hate to say it, but I got my ass beat on predictions. So tomorrow I may or may not have to step. Or stomp. I might stomp. Huh. How about that? What if I just stomp instead of step on it? He's going to be pissed. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Check out Sharp Sports Network. Do that. I appreciate you. Use promo code Tyco01 over on the App Store. That will help you a great deal. Be good people. Do good things for somebody. And then do